Welcome back, Boise Entrepreneur Week. I'm especially proud to sit down with former Trailhead member and Trailhead alumni, Paul Dlugosch, founder and CEO at National Intelligence System. Welcome, Paul.
Thanks, Tim. Glad to be here.
How does it feel to be back at Trailhead?
Like coming home, actually. It really does. It really does.
You're tempted at all to start another venture walking through these doors?
No, I think my hands are full with the one I got right now.
Speaking of the one you have right now, hot off the press, you guys won the most innovative company in Idaho as of last night.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. It really is gratifying, and most of all, I'm excited for the team. They have just been, working their butts off. We're working every day on the frontiers of artificial intelligence, and boy, innovation is one of our company values, and they live it every day, and to be recognized this way was just fabulous. I'm really happy for the team.
Let's talk about the team for a little bit. I happen to have been, call me a landlord maybe. I don't even know what you want to call me, but I know your team, but it has grown since you guys have moved out. How many of you are there now?
There's 18 of us now, and we just grew again a little bit. We got some fabulous talent, and here's the really neat thing about that. We're looking for some pretty specialized technical talent. Mm-hmm. Some of it we can get right here in Boise, and that's been great, but we have to go outside the region. For example, we just hired a neuroscientist from Michigan, and he had several other offers. He chose ours first because we got really cool technology to work on. But then there's Boise. Boise
was a factor, huh?
It is. Huh. I don't know everything that's going on all around the country, but Boise is an asset for us right now. And so when we do need to go outside the region, we've got a little bit of ammunition in our back pocket. Boise's a draw.
And neuroscientist, I'm assuming he must have been a PhD.
He was, indeed.
So he has choices, is what I...
He has lots of choices, and what we're working on, as I said, we're on the very forefront of artificial intelligence, and it's just a great thing for this technical talent to be working on, and it all circles back. This is where any recognition we get in innovation comes because of what we're doing, this kind of advanced development, and the people that we've got working on it.
Let's take a bit of a deep dive into the technology. You've explained it to me many times, and it's kind of like here for me, I'm not a PhD in anything closely related to neuroscience, but some of the end applications I could relate to. But in a nutshell, tell us about the technology.
Yeah, in a nutshell, our technology is really leveraging the most advanced and current neuroscience that is available today and realizing those concepts in a semiconductor device. The artificial intelligence that we have today really is a direct descendant of inventions in the mid-1950s. And yes, it's done some incredible things. It still does to this day. But what our company is focused on is the next generation of artificial intelligence. And so here's just maybe one distinguishing factor. In order to be a great AI system today, you have to be really fast at mathematics. Teraflops, trillions of floating point operations per second. If you were to ask me how many teraflops our system does, I couldn't tell you because we don't work in mathematics. We work in a principle of pattern recognition and pattern matching, just like your brain does. And so it's an entirely different concept where we're not trying to make AI today better. We're rewriting the book
Whole new paradigm
on AI.
Interesting. So in terms of the end applications, those that I could relate to, I remember there was some in medical. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah. Well, AI is very ubiquitous, and it's almost one of the problems because AI is being used to do everything. So some of the work we've done in the past, we did some work for the Department of Defense, basically demonstrating that our technology was feasible and it could perform. We're currently under contract right now doing some work for NASA. I mean, how cool is that? We're just over there processing data from interplanetary spaceships and helping NASA to understand the integrity of some of their communications, and we're using our AI system to do that. We're really pushing hard right now in image classification. It's not as simple as is it a cat or is it a dog? It's quite a bit more advanced than that, but it really is a difficult problem when it's done at scale. And we believe that our system will not only provide better results, but do so at much lower cost and much lower energy. And so, it's really boundless what a technology like this can do.
Most innovative company in Idaho. There's 18 of you. You have a contract with NASA. You worked with DARPA right here in Boise, Idaho. Tell me a little bit about the origin story. I personally know it, but our audience may not be aware of where national intelligence kind of came from.
Yeah, well, for me, I'm an electrical engineer, and I worked about 10 years at Hewlett-Packard, primarily on embedded memory systems. And Micron eventually recognized some of the work that I did, and I got a call from a recruiter, which started a 20-year career at Micron. Fully half of that career was spent working on this advanced architecture. And in 2016, through a series of what I look at and say are very fortunate circumstances, we had the opportunity to take this technology outside of Micron. And so we did. Of course, we did so with full visibility of Micron, and we entered into a legal agreement enabling us to take this intellectual property, over 200 patents that we had developed at Micron.
So it was an amicable spin-out, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and about 4 months later, after I figured out really how to get this company up and running, I began to hire back my team. And we went from there. And it's been a wild ride. What we developed at Micron was not like what we have today. And so there is an incredible amount of innovation that went on while we were at Micron and since we left Micron. And I'm just so thankful to have had the opportunity that I had at Micron to begin the development of this sort of technology. And if our company succeeds through the agreement we have, Micron will succeed, as will our other investors. And we're just pulling hard to make this work out the best we can for everybody.
Sounds like a really cool relationship. So on the one hand, Micron spins out this or lets this technology spin out. There's an incredible amount of innovation that took place, like you said, during the 20 years you had at Micron and the time you spent working on this technology. And then I sort of see it, once you get outside of the big corporate walls, then you're able to kind of take it to the next level of innovation. So in one way, the assets and the resources of Micron enabled to, the courtship in the infancy of this technology, and then you move out and then you take it to the next level. Since you left Trailhead, what kind of milestones did you hit? I know you're a part of a pretty prestigious program. Why don't you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah. Well, when we left Trailhead, not very long after, we were fortunate enough to gain admittance into the TechStars program. And that was the TechStars Starburst Space Accelerator. Basically, the TechStars version of a space accelerator where they were interested in aerospace and outer space technologies. Those technologies that could help with the further commercialization of space. And so why us? Why this little company in Boise, Idaho? Well, I sort of alluded to it before. When you eschew all the mathematics that are typically required for AI processing today and focus on this pattern-based model, what you get is a much smaller, much more energy-efficient artificial intelligence system. This is where we met NASA. And, when it comes to space, you don't get a lot of energy to work with, and you don't get to weigh a lot. And so there's something called SWAP, size, weight, and power. Anybody that's flying in space knows what this is and know they need to minimize all of it. And our technology does that, amongst other things. But this is why our technology is so aligned with the needs for aerospace or space applications.
That makes perfect sense now. SWAP, obviously the form, fit, function of, and I believe out in space, INL builds these tiny little microreactors that then power things out in space.
Yeah.
And they're fairly small. We actually have a question for you on our Slack channel. And by the way, for those in the audience, we have a live Q&A channel in the Boise Entrepreneur Week Slack channel where you can drop questions. And I'm going to just wait for my cameraman to type it out. Here's the question. Did Natural Intelligence take venture funding during the spin-out?
No, we left Micron with no money. And so that was a bit frightening. The first thing we needed to do was raise some capital, and I hadn't had to do that before. That's just a muscle I had never exercised. And so the very first thing we did was we all reached into our own pockets. It was very circular. The employees funded the company,
wow,
and we paid ourselves. Not very well, by the way, but eventually, once we got our act together, we approached friends and family, as one normally does, and then the local angel community. And we're very fortunate to get the support of some of the leading angel investors in the Valley here. And then we were on our way.
But right out of the gate, you kind of bootstrapped internally.
Yeah, we sure did.
Wow, especially coming out of a corporate safe environment where you're getting paychecks to that must have been quite the frightening leap.
I found out there's nothing safe about any of this.
Well, Paul, I think we have enough time to shoot. We got one more question? All right.
So this question comes in from the Slack channel. Natural intelligence sounds like it goes along the same lines as what Jeff Hawkins was researching many years back. As a fan of fuzzy logic versus neural nets and back propagation, as well as working on a Lisp language descendant, is there any nerdy stuff Paul can talk about without spilling any secret sauce?
Yeah, there is. And I'm not sure who asked that question, but it is a fabulous question. About halfway through the development of this technology at Micron, I had an opportunity to meet Jeff. That's maybe 15 years ago now. And after seeing him present, I saw an immediate correlation between some of his HTM work, hierarchical temporal memory, and what our architecture could be. And I became somewhat of a groupie. I sought Jeff out. I got an opportunity to meet him, and that started a long series of meetings between our companies, sharing ideas and thoughts about not only the advanced theory that Jeff and his team were working on, but how it might relate to a hardware architecture that was really unlike anything that Numenta or anybody else had seen. And so I consider Jeff a friend and an inspiration for our company. And I think anybody who gets deep into our technology will see that our two companies are cousins, if you will.
Paul, just listening to you makes me so proud that you had your beginnings at Trailhead and that we can say that Natural Intelligence System is a Trailhead alumni. And with that, we have a pretty cool video, which is a profile of Natural Intelligence Systems. I really want our audience to get a chance to take a look at that video so they can see some of the things that you and I just discussed and talked about. So we're going to cut through that video. I think production's got that ready to roll. Right after the video, you'll see a talk called Thinking Global, and you'll also hear from our sponsors. But first, we're going to see this video on Natural Intelligence System. Thank you, Paul, for joining us today.
My name is Paul Dlugosch. I'm CEO and founder of Natural Intelligence Systems located in downtown Boise, Idaho. Natural Intelligence Systems is a company that spun out of Micron Technology. We're focused on developing an entirely new way to implement artificial intelligence and machine learning for some of the most complex problems that are facing computer scientists and system developers today. Our company is really about designing the full stack of artificial intelligence technology, right from the very semiconductor up to the systems that computer scientists and medical researchers and government officials will be running artificial intelligence problems on. This is a 300 millimeter wafer fabricated at Micron. This is what computer chips look like before they get it into your computer or into the system or into your cell phone. Actually, there's several hundred computer chips on this wafer. They just haven't been singulated or carved up into tiny little squares, which one by one, they'll go into your cell phone, your computer, or what have you. And that's what chips look like before they're actually packaged and put into the final product. To know the history of natural intelligence, you have to go back really 15 years when this concept was first conceived at Micron Technology. Myself and many members on the team worked at Micron Technology developing this architecture for a period of 10 years. In the summer of 2016, we had an opportunity to take this technology outside of Micron and start an independent company. And I look at that, and I hope I speak for the whole company, as an opportunity of a lifetime. We had this fabulous technology, issued over 200 patents while we were at Micron. And now we were outside with the opportunity to build a really great company right here in downtown Boise, Idaho. And we've never looked back since. But we have a real vision. Artificial intelligence, if you look at it over the long arc of time, it's going to be with us really forever. We'll never get away from it anymore, which means we're really right in the very beginning, the very early stages of artificial intelligence and the impact it's going to have on everybody. Running a company and being around this great team is fabulous. Our investors are just the best people. But it's what this technology is really going to do for people out in the world. One of the very first sources of revenue we had in our company was on a project to detect cancer. And it's that kind of impact that keeps me going every day and running fast every day. I really believe that the technology that we're developing here is going to have such a tremendous and positive impact on the lives of countless people as we go forward. And that's what we're doing here at Natural Intelligence.